Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Nowadays I'm exploring the Boeing 747, which is the default plane for the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I'm just really enjoying some flights with this plane because now this plane has evolved a lot since its launch because there were some features which were actually missing in the previous versions, but now it's up to date and it's got those features in it, which is especially the top of descent coming on your navigation display when to start your descent, and plus the descent management is really good with this plane. If you're doing it with the VNAV, it tends to follow all the speed and the altitude constraints once you start your descent. So I'm just really enjoying it because in the Captain Sim Boeing 777-300ER, I've been doing on those videos. The VNAV doesn't work really well during the descent, but now with this plane, it's absolutely superb and I just really like it. I have been actually using the Salty Simulations Boeing 747 modified version, and those videos are also there on my channel. You can just go and watch them, but this plane is a good one, and if you try it, you will really enjoy your flights. So first of all, let's get some power in the plane. Turn on the battery, set it to auto, and then connect the external power. I will actually be doing a series of videos for this plane in which I will include the FMC configuration, the startup procedures, flying the plane on autopilot, descent management, ILS approach and landing, what to do after the landing, RNAV approach and VR approach, and then the missed approach procedures for this plane. I'm breaking up all these things into different videos because it's then becomes easy for the people to actually search for a specific information on the internet. So right now I will be doing a short flight from Heathrow to Frankfurt, and I will be configuring the FMC as per the flight plan. The flight plan, I will do it in the sim brief, which I will also tell you how to do it in this video. First of all, you have to actually turn on the iris alignment to nav. This is actually the inertial reference system, which provides GPS coordinates to the plane, to the FMC, or rather the flight management guidance system of the plane. So you have to turn it first of all to align and then to nav, all three of them, left, center and right, because then the plane knows where you are or where the plane is, and then it can easily follow the flight plan once you turn on the LNAV option, which is the lateral navigation, to follow the flight path. If you look at the navigation display, you will see that time to align is coming as 1 minute. You can also change this time if I get rid of the yoke and I just pull back the speed brake. Then I can go to menu, and in the settings you will see iris align time, instant, accelerated or real. If you keep it real, it will take roughly 7 to 8 minutes, accelerated 1 minute, and instant, it's done instantly. There is another trick. If you don't want to get rid of the yoke and the speed brake, you can also press Ctrl 4 to look at both the FMCs, and you can interact with them. But for this video, I'll just keep the view like this because it's easy. Okay, because then the FMC is in the middle of the screen. That's good. So now first of all, you have to go to this page, initial reference, and over here now you have to enter some information, which is the reference airport. You have to enter the ICAO code for the Heathrow International Airport, which is EGLL, and then you have to get this GPS position. So simply click this, and then you have to click this soft key, which is next to set iris position. If in the FMC you see anything coming in square boxes like this, then you have to actually enter this information. It's required. So you simply press this soft key, and this iris alignment will be done, and the FMC will get the position. Now I will press index, and I will just show you the initial reference page in which you will see ident, position, performance, thrust limit, takeoff and approach. You have to configure actually all this information in the FMC in order to carry out a flight. In this video, I will cover position. I've already done it, performance, thrust limit and takeoff. But once I'm doing the ILS approach, then we will also go to this option approach. In the initial reference page, you will see this option coming as ident. If you click this, you will see the model of the plane, the engines, and plus the nav data, updated till July 12th. So it's got the latest ARAC cycle, which actually consists of all the information of the airways, the waypoints and the airports. So the navigation data is up to date. Let's get back to index. So I will go to this option position, and then over here you will see this option coming as route. You can also access route by clicking this button and it will take you to the route. Now on this page, you have to enter the origin airport and the destination airport, which is EGLL to EDDF. And then the runway for the takeoff. You can take this runway from the ATC if you want. You can simply go here and ask the clearance to actually depart straight out or north, south, east, and the ATC will give you the runway. As in this video, I'm just trying to select the runway by myself, so I don't have to worry about that. So for this video, I will be using a runway 9 left, 09 left, and I'll press it here. Don't simply enter 9 left. You have to enter 09 left, because if you just only enter 9 left, it will give you an error. So now I have the route and the origin and the destination. Now we have to actually go to SimBrief to get all the information for the route, get the waypoints, the SID and the star. So I will just go to SimBrief now and I will explain it to you how to make a flight plan in SimBrief, and then just come back here and enter all this information in the FMC. So this is SimBrief, where you can make a flight plan and then you can enter it in the FMC. I would like to tell you one thing, that you can also do this flight planning in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can make a flight plan, but it's good to know how to make a flight plan in the SimBrief, because it gives you a good perspective of your flight, and it will give you a good flight planning insights. So I will recommend to use the flight planning tool by SimBrief and then enter it in the FMC. Otherwise, you can easily make a flight plan and then you can fly a plane. Because if you want to give it more realism, I think SimBrief is a good option. In the SimBrief, all you have to do is this: simply make your login, and then you can make flight plans without any cost. But there is one thing to it, and you have to actually get the latest AIRAC cycle by subscribing to Navigraph. You have to do it because then if you will make a flight plan, your AIRAC cycle will not be updated, and there will be a disconnect in the flight plan that you make over here and in the plane, because the plane's FMC is updated with the latest AIRAC cycle. So that's why you have to keep this thing in your mind. Over here, what I'll do is this: I'll first of all select the departure airport, which will be EGLL, and I will go to EDDF, Heathrow to Frankfurt. Now what I'll do is this: I can select an alternate airport, or I can leave it to auto, as you can see. So leave it to auto. When I will be doing the alternate airport selection in the next coming few videos, and then I will tell you how to do this. Then you have to select the aircraft type, which will be Boeing 747, and this is the one. Now you will also see a variant of the airframe. You have Salty Simulations Boeing 747 or working title 747-8i. But as you are using the default plane for the Microsoft Flight Simulator, so just leave it like this. Cost index, it's a number that you have to enter over here. This number is between actually 1 to 100. The higher the number, the more fuel is burned, the plane goes at a higher speed. So if you want to go at a high speed, you should have a higher number in the cost index. But if you want to increase the range of the plane by burning less fuel and going at a slower speed on autopilot, then you have to select a small number. So for this video, I will use 80. You can also use 90, any number you use. So it means I will be burning more fuel going at a higher speed. And that's how I set it. Okay. And then what you have to do is this. You have to actually select the departure runway. As I've told you before, I will be using 9 left for this. And the arrival runway will be either 25 left, center, or right. This is again, once you're near the airport, you can also get the clearance from the ATC which runway you want to land. But for this video, I will be using 25 center. Now you have a flight plan, and you can see now it's also over here on the map. The altitude, you can keep it at auto. Otherwise, you can also select it. I will be flying at 38,000 feet. That's it. Passengers, you can also select auto, none, or full. I can select full. And freight, I will keep it at auto. Payload, you can also keep it at auto, as it's already selected. And that's it. Now you have done all the things over here. You have given the passenger weight, the freight weight, and everything will be calculated accordingly. Now you can see that the flight plan is coming over here, and you've got some different options. You can also change it if you want by clicking these options. If you press this button, view all, you will see all the flight plans. Now you can see that these are the valid for ARAC 2307, but these flight plans are actually not valid for the cycle 2307, that is July 2023. So no need to select these plans, otherwise you will have an error, you will have an issue. You can see it's such a big flight plan. So you can select the first one, it's okay. And if you get this option that DET2F is not valid for 9 left, then you can click this option fix and the flight plan will be fixed. That's it. Now in the flight plan, you have actually 4 things. One is the star, another one is the SID, and the rest of the 2 things are your airways and waypoints. The first part in the flight plan is your SID. The last point is the star. SID is actually standard instrument departure and star is standard terminal arrival. These are actually the procedures to fly out of an airport and then land at an airport. So let's say if I'm saying DET1K, this is actually a SID for the departure, standard instrument departure, which will take you to this point DET. Can we see it over here? Yes. Now, this is the first waypoint of the flight. All these waypoints are actually populated because of the SID. It actually tells the plane what to do during the departure. You don't simply fly out of an airport. You actually have to follow some constraints. So in this regard, let's say when you are flying out of Heathrow from runway 9 left or any other runway and you are moving to this point DET, there is an altitude constraint at this point, which is 6,000 feet. So you cannot be more than 6,000 feet by this point. So once you will do your flight, you will know that the plane will be restricted to this altitude, and after the DET, it will then further climb. So that's why there is a constraint. And similarly, as you can see that there is a pattern over here for the arrival at runway 25 center, which is actually indicated by UNOC 4A. This is actually your start, the standard terminal arrival. So after UNOCO, everything is populated because of the star. It's actually a procedure to land at 25 center. And at UNOCO, your flight level should be more than 11,000, but there is a restriction over here for, I think, if I'm not wrong, it goes up to 4,500 or maybe. Yes, I think it goes up to 4,500. It's not on the top of mind, but right now, but still, I think it's roughly 4,500. So during these points, you have to be above 11,000 feet. And then there is also a speed constraint, so the plane actually automatically reduces its speed as per the constraints given by the star. So once I will be updating this plan in the FMC, I will also show you the charts for the SID and for the star and for the approach. Now anything in between is your flight plan, which consists of 2 things, an airway and a waypoint. It's very simple to actually identify an airway. Anything in alphanumeric value is your airway, and anything in alphabetical value is your waypoint. So L6 is an airway, DVR is a waypoint. Similarly, UL9 is an airway, Conan is a waypoint. If you click this option, which says airways, you will see all these airways. So you can see this is a complete airway, UL607, which will actually start from or start after DVR and Conan, Cork, and then Remba, SPI, PASOV, and so forth. So this is how it takes you, or rather to PASOV, it's T180, which takes you to actually UNOCO over here. So that's how you read your airways and waypoints. If you want these airways and waypoints, you can turn them on. Otherwise, you can just click this option and they will go away. There should be one and direct point. Now, I tell you one thing. L6 and DVR, they are like L6 will take you to DVR, UL9 will take you to Conan, UL607 will take you to KOK. But then Remba doesn't have an airway before it. So it means you will go directly to this. In some cases, when this flight plan is updated, it says DCT, which means direct. But if it's just mentioned like this without an airway, you have to simply enter this waypoint. So let's get back in the plane. and start entering this information in the FMC. So let's get rid of the yoke and press activate, execute. And now what I'll do is this. First of all, I have to select the departure. So runway 9 left is automatically selected because we have done it before, but you have to select the SID, which is the ET1K, and press execute. Now, if I go and open the Navigraph charts, and if I load a flight, and if I click this option, you will see actually the departure. So this is actually a departure, a procedure to fly out of this airport. Flight level 6,000, 3,000, you should be between 6,000 and 3,000. And by this point, you can see DET or D5.0, 6,000, as you can see. So these are the constraints which are coming. And plus there are also some restrictions coming over here. You can just read all these things over here, which have to be followed. So it's good to have an Navigraph subscription so that you can interact with these charts. These charts only have to be used for the simulation purpose, not for the real life. But it gives you a good perspective. It gives you a good learning if you really want to learn how to do navigation. And these charts have really helped me a lot. But the best thing is this, that once you enter all this information in the FMC will also tell you what to do and what not to do. So it's very good. So let's go back to route. Press this button, and over here you will see the 1x2 is coming. It means this route page has got 2 pages. You can press next page and then it will take you to the next page. Now from here we have to enter the airways and the waypoints. Airways have to be entered on the left side and the waypoints have to be entered on the right side. So my first airway is L6 to DVR. So let's enter L6 to DVR. That's it. Then the next point is UL9 to Conan. So this is an airway, and the waypoint. Next one is UL607 to KOK. Oops, made a mistake. Let's do it again. KOK. Then direct to Remba. I will simply enter Remba over here. And that's it. No airway. So it will say direct to Remba. So if you get any point like this without an airway, you can enter it like this. Then go to the next page and then you can continue with your flight plan. The next airway is UL607, which will take you to SPI. And the last one is T180 to Unoko. T180 to Unoko. And press execute. Now you have the flight plan. All you have to do is this now, select arrival, and that's it. For the arrival, you just go here and you will see different approaches: GPS, ILS, RNAV, VR, or simple approaches. So what you can do is this. That you can select ILS 25C because I will be performing an ILS approach and then landing. So I can select ILS 25C. Now it's asking me for some information over here, transition, which has to be entered. So you're getting 3 transitions: CHA, DF5 to 6, or MTR. So let's open this chart. Load this flight again. And let me just try loading it again, because for the past 1 or 2 days I'm just getting this issue. The flight plan is loaded very strangely over here. I don't know why it's happening. It never used to happen before. So let's go here, and I can select star, or rather let's go for the approach, and let's select 25 center, left and center. So I can select this option, and you will see that this DF5 to 6 is coming over here. So because no matter what side you're coming from, you have to come over here to D5 to 6, and then you have to continue with the approach and the finals. So right now you can see there is another point coming as CHA, but it's valid if you're coming from this side of the world. But if you're coming from this side, you simply come and you come at this point, DF526, which is mentioned over here. So this is how you can find your transition. So DF526 will be your transition. You simply select this, and what is your actually a star. So let's get it from the sim brief. And in the sim brief, you can see it's UNOC 4A. So I can scroll through the pages because you can see 1/5 is coming. So it has got many pages. So UNOC 4A. So this is the star, and then you press execute. Now your flight plan will be updated. You can scroll through your flight plan and see if there is any issue in the flight plan or not by pressing this option legs. You will see your flight plan, and then over here on the navigation display, you can change the display from map to plan, which will actually show you your flight plan. You can zoom out or zoom in. And what you can do is this, you can then press this button step, which will take you through all the points in your flight, the airway and the waypoints. And you can see your flight plan is good. If I just zoom out, you will see that there is a discontinuity coming over here. So over here it says vectors and then DF526. If you just keep your flight plan like this, then your plane will actually keep on flying in a straight line. It will never turn to DF526 because there is a discontinuity and the plane doesn't know what to do. So you have to actually get rid of this option. So next page, and you will see vectors. You can delete this and your flight plan will be then good. So simply press delete and then press this soft key, which is adjacent to vectors. Press execute, and then again you have a discontinuity. You can again press delete and then press again this soft key and press execute. Now you can see this line is now connected from DF416 to DF526. Now you've got rid of the discontinuity, and then you can continue with your flight. So now you can see the flight plan is there, and this line actually, or this path is actually your path for the missed approach. So in case if you miss your approach, you have to actually follow all this plan, and you can then come from MTR to DF526 again for the landing. This what I will cover in the missed approach procedures. So that's it. So now this was the part for the flight route, arrivals and departures. Now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go to this option again, and initial reference. I'll go to this option. Index, and from here you have done positioning in the route. Now you have to enter the performance information, and then you have to go for the thrust limit and everything. What I can do also is this. I can go to this initial reference page, and the performance initialization has to be entered. So you have to enter the zero fuel weight, the reserves and everything. So let's get some fuel information from the flight plan, and let's try to enter this information over here. So right now what you can do is this. You can generate this flight. And then you can see all this information for the flight, the time, the load sheet and everything. And plus you can also view the PDF, which is actually the operational flight plan, which gives you information about your fuel, and plus the route, weather information, everything. So now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to just set the weight and the fuel of the plane according to this operational flight plan. I will be carrying 25,299 kilograms of fuel, which will be 25 tons. And the reserves that I will be carrying will be taken from here, which are 12,181 or 12 tons. So 25,299. Let's enter it over here. For this, you can use the Microsoft Flight Simulator's weight and fuel calculator. As this plane doesn't have the electronic flight bag or the tab, that's why you have to do all this calculation over here. So the fuel is roughly 25 tons. I can keep it at 26 tons by moving this slider. Remember to change it to pounds and kgs. Otherwise, it doesn't make a difference. Even if it's in pounds, over here you will still see it in kgs. So you have to keep an eye on over here that the maximum allowable fuel is 191 tons, but you are just carrying 25 tons. So you can move the slider and adjust the fuel. I think I can just keep it at 28,000. Just keep it over here. Now for the total weight, it's a very simple thing that you have to do. The maximum weight your plane can carry is 442 tons. And right now it's 275 tons. So you can see the estimated takeoff weight is 288695. Landing weight is coming, and plus your zero fuel weight is also coming, 264 tons, or 264,303. So your takeoff weight is 288 tons, which is with the fuel and everything. Because the landing weight is without the fuel, because some fuel will be burned. So that's why you have to just make sure that this information is coming, 288 tons. So it's 275 tons. I can move the slider and I can change it over here to 288 tons. Right now you can see this error is coming, center of gravity out of limit. You can move the slider to adjust the center of gravity. So now you can get rid of it. Now, according to this center of gravity, the trim for the pitch for takeoff will be also calculated. So right now you can select zero fuel weight, 260 tons. You can enter it over there. Reserves, 12 tons. You can enter 12.0, as we have seen it before in the operational flight plan. Cost index, I was using 90. And the cruising altitude will be 38,000 feet. So I can enter 380. I can also enter 38,000, or I can enter FL 380. All the three options, you can do it. So if you enter flight level 380, it will take it because it's 38,000 feet. Now let's go to the thrust limit. Thrust limit, you can set it to 10% reduced thrust or 20% reduced thrust. Right now it's selected as the full thrust. This is actually a calculation required by the airlines to put less stress on the engines during the takeoff, because obviously you cannot climb every time on the full thrust if it's not required. And plus, if you've got an electronic flight bag in the plane, then you actually calculate all these thrust limits and takeoff performance based on the weight, the weather, the runway length, everything into consideration while doing this, because it's missing in this plane. So that's why you have to rely on the information that you already have. If you want a reduced thrust, you can do it. Otherwise, if you want to go at a higher speed, you can select the maximum. Right now it's saying to N1 97.9, so the thrust will be 97.9% during the takeoff. Now for the takeoff performance, you can select flaps 10. As you can see, here are the flaps. So you can just set the flaps to position 10 over here for the takeoff. And then center of gravity, press this button, and then again, and you will see 11% center of gravity. Trim is 8.2. Runway is coming. All you have to do is this. Select V1, VR, and V2. And that's it. Now your plane is actually capable of flying from one airport to another. You've got the flight plan, and everything will be carried out, because this information is also required for the takeoff. V1 is actually a speed at which you can still decide to abort the takeoff, but after 138 knots you have to take off, because then the runway will be short to stop. So before 138 knots you can stop. VR is the speed at which you have to rotate, pull back on your controller or the yoke to lift the plane up in the air. And V2 is the speed at which you should be flying in case if there is an engine failure, you want to turn around. So you have to achieve 162. So I will be telling you how to configure the speed over here in the mode control panel in the startup procedures video. But right now for this video, this was it. Let me just revise it for you, that for the initial reference, go to index. So positioning you have done. And then you have done the performance. Thrust limit, you have also set the thrust limit. You have also set the takeoff performance. And if I go back to route like this, or we can simply go from here to route, and you will see the route information is also coming. Your flight plan is coming, or you can also check it from here, legs. And then you could just bring it back to map. That's it. So this is how you configure the FMC It's easy way to do it. It's not really difficult. But if the electronic flight bag is added, you will see that the takeoff performance calculation will be more interesting if you have got more calculation options available with you. So this was a video, and I hope you have learned some things from this video. If you want to ask me a question, the comment section is there for you. I try to respond to all your questions in time, but if there is a delay, kindly excuse me for that. And if you want to add anything to this video, the comment section is there for you. With this, I would just like to end my video. Thank you very much for staying with me. Have a nice day. Hope to see you soon.